Hello everyone, it's Glenn O'Flaherty and this is Board Games and Bourbon again. Thanks for being here. Right now, I had the opportunity to play a game that I've wanted to play for a long time, Monasterium, and I haven't been able to get it stateside. Haven't seen it in a store, didn't get it from any websites, but I did see that they were coming out with a deluxe version. I asked if I could take a look at it, and they sent it over here. So, we're going to talk about the 4 ways the game is going to be upgraded for the upcoming Kickstarter for the game. And I also want to kind of just talk about like what I think about the game in general, which is kind of cool. Now, if you don't know much about Monasterium, it's a dice as actions kind of game. It reminds me of Marco Polo in a lot of ways. You have dice that you roll, you put the dice out onto the board. They're going to have different numbers. When you choose those dice for their numbers to bring it back to your personal action area, it's going to activate a column of abilities, and then you choose from a selection. You take a worker from that XY chart, that column in the row that you want, you take it off. It's going to have a specific cost to activate and a specific power that's going to occur. Now, when you take your workers off, your novices, they're called, right? Monks in training, you're going to put them in different locations. You're going to put them either in buildings or in a chapel or in a cloister. And depending on where you put them on the board, they're going to score in different ways. So you'll get points for how many of each you have. You're going to have multiplying effects of this group times that group. There's also going to be these end game scoring conditions that if you met the scoring conditions, and they're changed every time, A, B, and C, you're going to get those points as well. And after 3 rounds, the game is going to end. You see it has the most points. There's also this little trail that moves through the game, and that one kind of reminds me of like Sailing Towards Osiris, where you only had access to certain parts of the board when your messenger, your burrow moves through. Anyway, so it's a very satisfying game. Okay, but what's new for this Kickstarter? Well, like I said, it's going to be 4-fold. So the first thing they're going to do is they're going to give you some really, really sweet double thickness player boards. And I'll try to put up some pictures here. They're going to show it a little bit better. But my goodness, are they thick? And they're always so satisfying to use. I love these boards so much. Things sit right in them. The little meeples sit right in them. It just is a really nice hearty touch that feels like it's a little bit more rigid and rigorous, and it'll stand up to lots of playing. It's always fun to have your toys be a little bit more constructed too. 2. The meeples, they're fantastic. The meeples are all silk screened, not only on the people themselves, and I'll try to show a picture of that too, right? There's one right there in yellow, which looks amazing, but also the messengers in the game. They're all silk screen, and it's awesome. Not to mention, we have the chalice and the time piece, which are really, really thick, also silk screen. Feel really good in the hand. The third element of the game is that they're going to have trays. Now the trays are doing a few things. One, they're going to have these trays over here. They're going to hold general components. I do like them because they tell you what component goes where. They're a little narrow on the fingers. The rules say that you should put piles of your goods at the bottom of the table, but you're probably going to end up just taking it out of the tray itself so you don't get a mess. But more importantly is they have the trays for each player that keeps everything really, really tidy. And it looks really, really good in there. You'll see these in a lot of games. Like Endeavor had these. They're really handy. Keep everything nice and tidy, organized, fast to take out and fast to put away, which I'm really thankful for. Okay, and then the last thing they're going to have the game is a mini expansion. Now, the mini expansion goes on the board on Space 3. And do I have the instructions for it? And essentially, the mini expansion is going to be a rule breaker of sorts. When you get your messenger along the path that you travel, and again, you're traveling the path because you want to access the different areas of the board to put your novice monks in there. When you reach Space 3, you can grab a power, and the power you can get is 1 of 8, and they all break the game rules in some way. Like it'll say you may manipulate a die. You may place a worker in a place you wouldn't expect. You may arrange windows in a way you were previously not able to do, but you do have to pay a good to do this. Now, what do I mean by rearranging windows? Well, like I said, there's rows and there's powers you can do, and if you take a worker out of a certain spot, it lets you get a stained glass window. And then you can arrange your stained glass windows and then activate other powers and kind of like this little, game of like, let's see if I can do this here. This little game of like, I don't know, Connect 4, tic-tac-toe over here. There's going to be X and Y powers, points. Sometimes you'll get goods for it. And that's also true for placing your people in the buildings too. Like you might put a person here, the spatial quality that is. You might put a person here, and then you want to put a person in the center in the cloister, but you can't because you're blocked out. Stuff like that. So there's a lot going on. But anyway, those are the 4 upgrades in the game. Very happy with all of them. I mean, it makes the game look really, really great. If this was my first impression of the game, I'd be super stoked. Also, this can't go without saying how much I love wooden dice. I think they're my favorite kind of dice to roll. Every game with wooden dice just feels so much more real, and I just feel so much more connected to the tangible quality of it. You know, I play games to get away from the digital world and get away from plastic, so I'm really, really happy with that. Anyway, okay, so that is a quick overview on Monasterium. I'm going to get a bunch of games in pretty soon. I'll be dropping my comments on how the gameplay feels to you if you haven't seen it already. And until then, everybody, I hope you're doing well. Talk to you soon. Bye.